So I'm riding in my car the other day, and for the third time, could have been more, I heard something. And I've also heard similar, um, sentences, similar references to this on TV. And on the radio, there's a commercial, and it starts off saying, as social distancing becomes the new normal. And little by little, I start taking this in, and every time I hear it, I get more and more pissed about it, because my opinion is that this should not be a new normal. This social distancing should not be a new normal. There's nothing normal about it. You give the entire population of the world, you probably got about 10% of the people that don't like socializing. They do like their little cubbies in their houses and stay safe, and that's fine. But the majority of us do like social interaction. I like to be elbow to elbow with people. I don't mind brushing up on someone. I don't mind giving a respectful handshake to someone, or a hug, to not even to just friends and family. I mean, to a stranger. I've done it. And I don't mind giving a hand pat on the back of a stranger, or someone that I care about. I am a social creature. I like touching people. I like interacting with people. And I know that people that I know like doing the same thing. And so for this to be considered the new normal, there's nothing normal about it. And in my personal opinion, as soon as you head out that door, you might not think that this is happening, but this is what I think I see happening, is that people are becoming unsocialized, and they're becoming distant, and they're fearful, and they're looking at each other left and right. You don't know which aisle to go down. You don't know if you could pass by somebody. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. And I'm taking my kid out, and we're watching this, and she's seeing this, and she's seeing old people, young people, middle-aged people behave in an erratic behavior that is just ridiculous. And I feel like we are teaching our kids to become jaded to social interaction. I feel like, that we're taking empathy out of the equation of being a human. So let me give you okay, so the other day I'm doing a shopping thing, and I see some lady who goes off her curb, and she has some stuff all up in her cart, and she drops something outside of the bottom of her cart, and two people who perfectly could have picked it up and handed it to her stopped and yelled at her, hey, hey, hey. Now granted, that was great, good job, but my interaction is to pick that damn thing up and run after her and give it to her. So let's say some old lady's walking, and she has some papers, and she drops them on the ground, and they fly everywhere. My initial reaction is to drop down and pick them up as soon as possible and help that old lady out. But what I'm seeing is people are like, I ain't gonna touch that. I think she might be sick, or she might know somebody's sick. She might not be sick, but she might be a carrier. This is ridiculous. This should not be happening, and it makes me really sad, because I feel like, I know that a lot of people are out there going, not my kid. My kid is perfect. My kid is loving and kind and respectful. And yeah, they probably are. But I think in time, we're going to, as a social society, we're going to start teaching our children that it's okay to not interact and not respond to people, and I think that's very sad. And I don't want to teach my daughter that, don't hold the door open for that guy, because he might accidentally brush your shoulder and he might be sick. I guess, in my opinion, really, if I see somebody drop something or is in need of something, I'm going to, what if they drop their credit card or something? I'm just going to say, no, hey, come get your credit card. No, I'm going to grab their credit card, and I'm going to go and give it to them. And if they touch me on the back, I'm not going to be like, oh, how, what I'm going to do, I guess, is I'm going to put my health at risk for my own personal, my mental health and my spiritual health, I guess I'm a risk taker, and I know a lot of you out there are probably risk takers, and I think that's great. But for those of you who do all this kind stuff and everything, and you're fantastic online and making masks and everything, that's great. I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is that all that seems to disappear as soon as you go out your door. Fear sets in, anxiety sets in, and the public and everybody's telling you, to behave a certain way and to go against all your physical and your emotional being, to distance yourself and take empathy out of the equation. And I don't see why that has to be. I guess staying apart, saves lives. America's divided. Half of us want to wear masks, the other half doesn't. Whether you might right or wrong, I'm not saying it is or isn't, but I will say not one person have I met, and not one time have I ever heard that the people not wearing masks and going about touching people and getting close to people have never said that this virus isn't real. Because everyone does agree that it is real. What we don't agree is that there's something bigger going on, and we don't know what, but we are questioning. And we are not trying to be disruptive, and we're not trying to kill people, but the economy and life has to go about itself. It has to happen, and we need to revert and go back to what we were. Yeah, there's certain things that we need to do and able to do that, but I think in time we need to just get back to what we were doing. Wash your hands. You should have been doing that in the first place. To me that just seems like ludicrous. That's now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, wash your hands. You should have been doing that. And I've been in the restroom with a bunch of people, and I take note of who wasn't washing their hands. And people, all my friends, they know that one of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm in the restroom and someone's not washing their hands. Oh, it just irritates the hell out of me. But anyways, getting back to the subject, so yeah, us people are not trying to be defiant. We just want to go back to what we were. And I honestly think that our mental health, as much as the people with the mask are physical health. The people without the mask, we're talking about our spiritual and our mental and financial well-being, And unfortunately, people are going to get sick and people are going to die. And that's a horrible thing that, people like me not wearing masks going outside have to deal with. Yes, at first I was compliant. I was wearing a mask. I did social distance. I still am social distancing only because people are giving me this, and if I walk down the wrong aisle, yesterday Neela got chastised by an old lady telling us, me too, but directed it more at her because she was in front of me, told her to go the other direction because the arrow said so. So we turned around and went the other way. Not even 2 minutes later did we see her go the opposite way. You know what? I felt like chasing her down and going, excuse me, but how good would I be? I'd be putting myself in that, I'm an asshole, it frustrated me. And what I did was me and Neela looked at each other and we laughed it off like, here they are. People are so pompous to tell you you're doing something wrong and they're not even obeying their own words. To me, it was just crazy. And I have seen a lot of people just become cold to each other, and it shouldn't be like that. And this should never be a new normal. We should teach our children to be empathetic, or and have empathy, and if you see something that needs to be attended to, whether it's a stranger or someone attend to it. You might be putting your health at risk. Not saying that, but I think sometimes for me, my mental well-being, my spiritual, is more important sometimes. Like if I saw somebody get in a car wreck, maybe I don't have a face mask to put over their face to give them CPR, but I do it, So I'd pick up a tissue for an old lady that she dropped, or a credit card for a mother with 4 kids, trying to get through the day. I would take that card and I'd run to her and I'd give it to her without being afraid. She might be afraid. I might get a total, how dare you, you could have just told me, attitude. But that's me, and I know a lot of you out there are like that. Don't let this become the new normal. This is not normal. Social distancing sucks, and I try to abide by it, but I'm not the best because I'm human. I'm not a robot, and I'm not a sheep, and I'm not going to go against my heart and say, you haven't seen that person in 3 years, don't go near them, because society's telling you, don't you dare touch her. We're 2 consenting adults. If she looks healthy and I'm healthy, and we should be intelligent to know that we are healthy enough to touch each other, let us freaking touch each other. It's bullshit, and I hate the fact that we had to do this, in order to do that. We shouldn't have to. And if I see 2 consenting adults having 2 children go and have a get-together play date, they're consenting adults. They know the risk that they're taking. And some of you might know what I'm referring to. There was a mother in some state that had a play date with a child, and the police showed up because a neighbor told on her. We are turning each other, on each other. You know what? If I was that neighbor and I saw that and I was still worried about that happening, about, they're they could be sick, or they're disregarding my health. You know what? No. You stay in your house and you social distance yourself, and you continue using your sanitizer and your hand washing, your soap and all that. I do. And your mask, I still wear a mask occasionally. Yes, I do. Because when I'm interacting with people, when I'm delivering groceries, I wear it out of respect to them. For me, I'm done. But this neighbor called the cops on a woman who had a play date, and the woman refused to give up any information, or her kid or whatever, and they took note of her, and we're putting you on a bad girl checklist. Bull crap. Neighbors should not be telling on each other. It's their business if they want. They're consenting adults with 2 healthy children and 2 healthy families. People should be intelligent to know that, say, I've got 1 person sick in my family, I probably should not invite somebody over. Or I've got nobody in my family has been sick for the last 6 months, and I haven't been in contact with anybody sick in the last quarantine, since this started. And then so I'm going to say, come on over. Intelligent people should know better. And we are intelligent. And I think they're trying to take the intelligence out of us and say, be a sheep, man, and obey our rules, because this is going to save your life and save other lives. I don't believe that, and I know a lot of you don't either. I do believe that COVID is real. I do believe people are sick, and I do believe people are dying. So people die from cancer, influenza, the flu, the cold, pneumonia. I almost died from pneumonia. Ain't nobody telling everybody else to wear a mask around me. And I know a lot of you have had pneumonia. I know a lot of you have had the flu and everything, and I know a couple of you have felt like you were going to frickin' die when you had it. And a lot of people die from that, and all of a sudden we no longer have any other sickness but corona. And to me, it's just, I don't know. I'm questioning it. I'm questioning the process of what is going on. I don't disregard that this is not real. And I will wear a mask when I am approaching, elderly people with their groceries, or even healthy people, because I know that's just, I'm putting their mind at ease. But honestly, if it was up to me, I wouldn't be wearing one. Yeah, I know not to sneeze like this. Achoo! And I know not to cough like this. And people, maybe that's the one thing that people need to be. Yeah, wash your hands, cover your mouth, cover your cough, cover your sneeze. That should have, there are some really stupid Americans that don't abide by that. And I know I've seen a lot of kids that, with the parents standing and the kids going, You know what, parent? Get on that kid and teach him the proper way. The other day I was in Fred Meyer and I started to sneeze. Neela looked at me with sheer panic, and I was panicking. I was like, oh my God, I didn't have a mask, and I'm starting to cover and I'm just holding it in with the best of my ability because I was in fear that I was going to be harassed, or the dirty looks, or, you never know. And I know a lot of you feel the same way. This is getting out of hand. And I think it's time, a lot of us Americans want to go back to normal, back to working, and I do too, but I also know that some people need, their social distancing, and I think there should be a choice. If you don't want to go out in public, don't go out in public. Stay home. You'll stay safe. You'll stay alive. Let the rest of us choose whether we want to do it or not, whether we want to get sick. I want to put myself at the risk, not really want to, but I want to socialize. I want to see people. I'm not saying I want to go sit in a bar or go to a stadium where there's people from all over the world traveling, but I want to be able to see my neighbor and be able to touch them. I want to be able to go into the store and see someone I haven't seen and be able to give them a handshake or hug them without the weight of the world on my back that I was doing wrong, because it's not wrong to be social. It's not. This is not normal. And we should not teach our children that this is the new normal. This is not the new normal. We're taking empathy out of the whole thing. I have this little saying that says, instant asshole, just put them in a car. You know what I mean by that? You get the nicest person. They're so sweet. And a lot of you probably laughing because I'm kind of like this too. Oh yeah, nice, respectful. You put them in a car and all of a sudden they've got that bubble. And all of a sudden they turn into a freaking jerk. And it's kind of the same way with the mask. It's like, you're wonderful. You're doing all this wonderful stuff. You're donating. You're making masks. You're reaching out, and you're being sympathetic to people. And then as soon as you go out the door, you put your mask on, and all of a sudden you're the police. And you're gonna be like, monitoring who's touching who, and how far they're apart. I bet that sweet old lady she wasn't sweet yesterday, but that old lady that we ran into is probably the sweetest lady, probably a cookie making machine. And I bet in a different day, she probably would have been lovely to interact with, But when she got one look at me and Neela going down the wrong aisle, she was the police for sure, and turned around and did exactly what we did. But we didn't go police her. We didn't police her. We just let her be. We laughed it off. But I'm sorry for rambling on. But just remember that when you're going outside to pack your empathy dose in your put it in your wallet or in your purse. Remember to have it. Try your best to keep it right here in the front of your mind, and we will be teaching our children as we take them out that you can still have empathy. How does that happen? I don't know. I mean, I am not encouraging Neela to go run out touching strangers, but if somebody dropped something or she wanted to hold the door open for somebody, I wouldn't be going, don't do that, you might get sick, they might be sick, they might be a carrier. I don't want to instill that in her. I'm just going to pat her on the back and say, good job. Will she get sick? Could she get sick? Possibly. But I think that's a hard lesson, to teach our children to not take that, that out of the equation, that to not have their empathy right here in the front of their mind. They need that. We need to teach them that. There was a post a long time ago where teachers were starting to clap hands and give kids hugs, and it made me cry. It was so sweet, and now you get those people outside the real world, and they're like, don't touch anybody, don't we're teaching our children to be very fearful of everything, and I think it's wrong. I really do. that's my 2 cents. I know a lot of you feel the same way I do, and I know there's a couple of you that are going to be going, but you shouldn't have, and you're going to kill people, and you're putting people at risk. And if you don't know me, then if you don't agree with me, that's okay. We can still be friends. But if you think that I'm such a horrible person by feeling like I want to touch people and be human again and not wear a mask, you can go ahead and unfriend me. It'll hurt, but I'll understand, because I want people that want to be like me. I want like-minded people. I don't mind disagreeing with people, but for this is, this is kind of a big one. I mean, put religion and politics aside, and now we've got those, and now we've got wear a mask, don't wear a mask, interact with people, don't interact with people, tell on your neighbors, let people be. This is where we're at right here, and we shouldn't be there, and I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but if you know me, you know that this was going to come out of my mouth, and I will be respectful for those people that do wear masks and wear the gloves. In the back of my head, I'm going, why? Cross-contamination, everything. You can take it out every time you touch something, you're still passing dirty money, Now they're trying to eliminate money, and now it's going to be a card. But even though you put the card in the machine, you still have to push the buttons. So, the lady hands your groceries over to you in a plastic bag or a paper bag. She's still touching it, so, it's, if you're going to get sick, it's, I'm not saying up your chances to get sick. Now go hang out in the hospital or something. But I am saying, take a deep breath, and just try to get back to your spiritual and mental well-being. Don't let this fear consume you. Okay. Thank you. I love you all. Hopefully I haven't created too many enemies. Bye.